In what sounds like it comes straight out of the pages of Soros' sinister plan, back in 2022, a hotel owner in Cornwall told how he was offered and then turned down a small fortune by the British government to turn over his magnificent Tintagel hotel to asylum seekers.
They sent us a letter first,
right?
And to be honest with you, I thought it was a joke. And
because of the amount of money they were offering.
Well, I just couldn't believe that the government wanted to put, you know, illegal migrants up in four-poster beds at Camelot Castle. I mean,
Reminds me of the old, in order to save the village, we had to destroy it routine, only now it's in order not to be labelled racists, we have to destroy Camelot Castle. At the time, the Home Office refused to comment, but said use of hotels to house asylum seekers was unacceptable and would only be used as a short-term solution, right? Yet to his credit, this brave man turned the government down, proving that for some at least, an Englishman's castle is still his home.
But also, they would have stacked the place up with about 300 people, and, you know, you then have those people wandering around the village. I don't know whether they intended to contain them or whether they would be allowed out and about. I know in other areas, certainly hotels in Newquay, have had some serious problems because there were a few hotels that did take the migrants there, and it would have destroyed the local economy. You know, it's hard to say how many hundreds of thousands of pounds our guests spend in the village, but certainly a fair amount. But it's also the cultural degradation that goes along with this.
Perhaps that sort of accommodation is what this particular Tanzanian asylum seeker had in mind.
I'm not happy in the hotel, and I'm not happy in this whole situation about Home Office. Because Home Office, they send me message to grant me about accommodation and support, but they didn't give me enough support.
Some people may say that if you're unhappy with the food, you're unhappy with the accommodation, why don't you return to Tanzania? Because Tanzania is a safe country.
So when I go back to home country, I'm gonna die. They're gonna kill me.
Who's gonna kill you?
Society and government as well, because I have a problem against the society and...
Right, and there it is in a nutshell. Show that your life is at risk in whatever obscure country you come from, and asylum must be granted, which is of course complete insanity, but that's European human rights legislation for you. And the idiots behind Brexit forgot or deliberately decided not to simultaneously withdraw from the European Human Rights Commission. This clip on GB News sums up the frustration many Brits feel, although very few dare to speak up.
Become the dustbin for people around the world that want a free life, want to come and claim asylum or get a cash-in-hand job. We are being gamed so badly in this country that the money will run out. Now, some figures earlier, $7.5 billion for universal credit for migrants, $3.5 billion for public spending services for migrants, $6.6 billion for asylum seeker hotels and support. How can we afford this for much longer? Yep. And I made a point earlier to you out the back that we've had so many millions come in over the last 5 years. As soon as they hit 5 years, they're all allowed to claim as well. Yep. So we have got a time bomb about to hit this country that we cannot afford. And then that's without them sending for their relatives around the world. This country is going to change so badly in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be unrecognisable.
Already, many parts of Britain are increasingly unrecognisable. Here's Nottingham town centre. But try and sing a Christian hymn in parts of Britain, and hey, the police will be on to you.
Religion you're allowed to do anywhere.
No, miss, you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church grounds, by the way.
You're not allowed to sing church songs outside of
church songs or church
you're not allowed
ground. That's fine. That's
you're
fine.
not allowed. She just said you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church.
Our church outside of church grounds, unless you have unless you've been authorized by the church to do this kind of song.
He's not saying anything anymore.
Where's Dixon of Dock Green when you need him? Then there was the story of this poor character, Damon Joshua, who was sacked by Severn Trent Water for causing significant offence after calling Hamas disgusting terrorists on a staff portal. Quote, "I condemned," says Damien, "the October 7th massacre, and it cost me my job." And then this week we learned that a primary school in Hampshire sent a letter to parents and carers informing them that neither their Easter bonnet parade nor their Easter service will be held this year. They've been scrapped altogether in order to, quote, respect diverse religious beliefs. I wonder which beliefs those might be. And here's historic Manchester Cathedral celebrating Ramadan, of course. Meanwhile, it's been over 4 months since the majority of Americans overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, but still those rivers of lefty tears just keep on flowing.
Everyone in my family voted for Trump. And my child's trans, and I'm so hurt.
Others prefer to internalize their deep democratic rage.
We will not be silenced. The silent riot has begun.
Okay, mind you, when it comes to the silent treatment, it looks like the trans community in France have found a highly original way of communicating their disapproval of Donald Trump, straight out of Love Actually. I think I preferred the original. Actually, even that wasn't that original.
John is in a basement mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement thinking about the government.
But speaking of Hollywood movies, actors with dwarfism are now rightly up in arms that Snow White used animated dwarves instead of real ones, and who can blame them?
Why don't I begin a protest about the fact that Disney decided to use CGI dwarfs, not even the real thing? We could have gotten hired, we could have gotten money for something, but no.
There you go, but I digress. Those discombobulated Democrats certainly are struggling to cope with their MAGA meltdowns.
Knowing that I was born with more rights than I have now is a pretty crazy feeling. Knowing that what we're about to go through means the possibility of me losing more of my rights, and that being a real threat, is insane. If you weren't scared this election, you have so much privilege.
Okay, well, she makes just about as much sense as this young lefty lady who, what a surprise, happens to be a pronouns-obsessed kindergarten teacher.
That's okay. Don't assume. You can always just ask, which pronouns do you use? He, him, she, her, they, them, these, let me know which one do you prefer?
Me, he, she, who, what, they, I give up. And speaking of gender nonsense, I just love this idea I spotted online.
I just read something on Instagram that said Trump should identify as a female because then the liberals would either have to accept that he's the first female president or admit that their ideology is
Too funny. Alas, I fear there is no cure for TDS.
Dude, we're underreacting. We need to be rioting, not protesting. We need to be, like, burning to the ground. Somebody needs to be a hero.
Trump derangement syndrome, still she seems fairly normal compared to what's going on the crazy, perverted Parisian fashion parades. It truly is a mad, mad world.